it's not breaking news that Mitch McConnell and his turkey neck are vile cretins, but this is a little beyond the pale even for me, and I hope for you, Ron. So earlier today, Colin, if you have it, there was a man with a weapon arrested near Brett Kavanaugh's home. The man allegedly told police he wanted to kill the Supreme Court justice. A man with a gun and a knife was detained by police early Wednesday morning near Brett Kavanaugh's home in Maryland after making threats against the Supreme Court justice. Yada, yada, yada. I don't need to read the rest, but essentially, from what he told police, he was upset about the Supreme Court leak that, the Roe v. Wade decision, which was leaked a couple weeks ago. As of now, it would be a 5-4 decision to overturn Roe v. Wade unless something radically changes. Kavanaugh, beyond just the sexual assault stuff, perjured himself during his hearing. In addition to Samuel Alito perjured himself, Amy Coney Barrett perjured herself, and Gorsuch, when they basically said Roe v. Wade is settled law and alluded to, I respect that it's the precedent and that it's settled law. Anyway, after he wasn't attacked, we don't know if he was going to be attacked. We just know someone was arrested, not outside his home, but near his home. After that, Mitch McConnell has pants on fire urgency to do something to protect the Supreme Court justices. Let's take a look at Mr. McConnell on the Senate floor after this news broke.
This is exactly the kind of event that many feared that the terrible breach of the court's rules and norms could fuel. This is exactly the kind of event that many worried the unhinged, reckless, apocalyptic rhetoric from prominent figures toward the court going back many months, and especially in recent weeks, could make more likely. This is exactly why the Senate passed legislation very shortly after the leak to enhance the police protection for justices and their families. This is common sense, non-controversial legislation that passed in this chamber unanimously. But House Democrats have spent weeks blocking the measure that passed here unanimously related to security for Supreme Court justices. The House's Democrats have refused to take it up. Now, look, Mr. President, that needs to change, and it needs to change right now. Right now. House Democrats must pass this bill, and they need to do it today. No more fiddling around with this. They need to pass it today. They need to stop their multi-week blockade against the Supreme Court security bill and pass it before the sun sets today.
Before the sun sets today. And by the way, just imagine having to live with that, man. Ugh. Anyway, it's just incredible. First of all, maybe this is a controversial take. I don't know why the Supreme Court justices are entitled to 24/7 security. I don't know. I mean, they don't run for the position. They're not elected. But
remember when they made Chuck Schumer seem reasonable?
Right.
I mean, it's like, look, I do not condone violence. I'm not, like condoning that in any way. But as far as like protesting outside of someone's home, I'm fine with that. I mean, that's like that's the gig they have. And even Chuck Schumer was like, there's people outside my home all the time protesting whatever. It just kind of comes with the territory. They made Chuck Schumer seem like the voice of reason, where he's just like, yeah, this is ridiculous. It happens all the time. Get over it. And it's amazing the sense of urgency Mitch McConnell has over this thing, which, again, like there wasn't actually any attack that happened or anything like that. It's amazing that this is a sense of urgency, but it's not a sense of urgency that people are getting slaughtered in supermarkets, in schools. That's not there's actually nothing we could possibly do about that. Nor should we. Why would we do that? There was this amendment that was written many, 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 many years ago when weaponry was completely different than it is now and isn't interpreted through a modern day lens at all. But that has to be the be all and end all. I mean, if a bunch of people who had slaves and would take 10 paces and then shoot guns at each other to solve their problems, if they say something, well, it must be. Why could we ever mess with that? Surely they could have never been wrong about anything. So
Right.
this has got to be treated as the gospel truth. Let me tell you.
Right.
So yeah, man, it's just I don't know how anyone. Whenever I see people taking the United States government seriously, it's like the people at the wrestling match who have to pretend like the match is real.
Hmm.
And I'm not trying to put down professional wrestling because it takes a lot of physical skill there. I mean, I respect it, but it's like this is such a parody of a parody of a parody at this point. And this is just the royals wagging their fingers at the peasants at this point. Oh, Kavanaugh, we need to do something now. But when one of the royals got there was mud in the direction of one of the royals when they were passing by the peasants. Didn't actually get anywhere near the cart they were being carried on, but it landed on the floor beside them. How dare they have you no respect? We are going to cut back on some of the gruel next week. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? People are like, well, it's like it's not this bad in other parts of the world. It really isn't. Like a lot of other countries are not this bad. I'm not saying anywhere's perfect. There's plutocrats everywhere. There's oligarchs everywhere. I'm not saying anywhere's a utopia. But holy shit, we are collapsing, folks. We're collapsing.
And you want to know something? Again, I agree with you. Whether it's Kavanaugh or people I don't like, we're not condoning violence. But what do you expect? Do you not expect certain people in society to become violent as everything crumbles around him and an unelected board basically tries to make decisions that can actually kill women? Because McConnell is very worried about the safety of the Supreme Court. Well, frankly, they're wealthy enough they could buy their own security. They could fund their own security if they want 24/7 security. We, the taxpayer, do not need to fund the security. And I'm talking about liberal judges too. But they make decisions that for the most disproportionately affected people, women, that is poor, mostly black and brown women, it could kill them because we're going to have to go back to the days of back alley abortions. Texas women cannot afford to fly to California to get an abortion. So he's very worried about a shooter or a would-be shooter who is found near Kavanaugh's home. Not saying that's nothing, but that's a local law enforcement issue, really. But he's not no problem at all with mostly older white men making permanent decisions that could kill women, not to mention all the other decisions, including on guns, the Supreme Court has made that can kill and has killed people. The other thing is, like you said, he's talking about the Democrats blocking things, and I hate to defend the Democrats. You know that. This man, all he has done for the majority of his career is block progress, any progress. I mean, if Obama had balls, which he didn't, Mr. Constitutional Republic here, Mitch McConnell, blocked Obama from having a Supreme Court justice. We wouldn't even be in this mess. We wouldn't be in this mess because Obama would have been able to appoint Garland, who is not progressive, but at least, he was a reliable vote on Roe v. Wade. So it's just amazing to me. And the media doesn't call this out. The media is not going to call him out for,
no.
Wait a minute.
Well,
why do you have this urgency to protect Brett Kavanaugh? But all we could do is, use one school, only one door at schools, which is insane and a fire code hazard. And, all we could do is, strengthen mental health, even though Republicans, when in power, have cut expenses, cut funding for mental health. I mean, it's just asinine. And it's really offensive if I was a parent who just lost a kid or a family member who lost anyone in one of these mass, name your mass.
I don't know how any parent sleeps at night. I just don't. And I have a lot of friends with kids. I'm sure you do too. Like I don't know how anybody sleeps at night. I mean, it's absolutely terrifying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, I wanted to play that clip because honestly, right now, from what I'm reading, there might be a deal, a bipartisan deal, which, as I always say, when you hear
Oh, of
bipartisan,
course.
yeah,
Yeah. If it's war or it's something that the powerful wants, man, they can get stuff done real quick. They can
right.
get those votes real quick. But when it's something that benefits people, all of a sudden they just can't. There's just these problems. They just can't do anything. Gee shucks. There's Manchin. There's the parliamentarian. There's pick your excuse. And there's
Absolutely.
been this same excuse. It's like when do you just get tired? But it's easier to and then with Roe v. Wade, it's easier to wag your finger at anyone who voted for the Green Party or anyone who didn't vote Hillary or whatever else. Instead of looking at what's really going on, they had 40 some years to codify it. They didn't. They could have talked about expanding the Supreme Court. They wouldn't even utter the words. They could have forced Obama to fight for a pick that was rightfully his. They didn't. They could have done anything to stall one of Trump's final picks. They only needed to do it for 2 months. For 2 months, they did nothing. And for people like, well, they didn't have the Senate. What did you expect them to do? Okay, Republicans don't have control of anything right now, and they've stalled tons of stuff. They've stalled tons of stuff. So I can assure you, if the shoe was on the other foot, and for 2 months, the Democrats, or excuse me, the Republicans just had the House. They didn't have the Senate. They didn't have the White House. You could be damn sure they would have found a way, threatened to shut down, thrown every stall bill in the book in front of people. They would have found a way to get those 2 months to pass before doing anything. You know it. So these people that make up excuse after excuse, it's like, when are you going to realize the Washington Generals aren't trying to win the damn basketball game? When are you going to realize that? They're not trying to win. It's an
Absolutely.
act.
Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.